Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Sophia Weaver, and I am just recently graduated out of high school, and I'm navigating life. So I'm going to college who also has a disability, ADHD to be exact, and is in the workforce already. So this happened with my job. Something you will come to know about me is I get hurt really easily. Most of the time it's like a little tweak here and there, but then there's always that one time where it's serious. I might look even more serious, and we did just that. So here you go. You can see my knee. I have a hinged knee brace on. Well, I need my phone because it has like a play-by-play of what happened-ish. Yeah, hold on. Oh, my phone is behind. Hold on, I'll grab it, I guess. Try not to show you my shirt because it has something that I guess you should know. I have a picture of what I wrote to the doctor. I basically wrote this whole thing so that he could know exactly what happened to my knee, how it happened, when I re-injured it, anything that I felt like he should know so maybe it could help his examination. It did kind of speed up the examination. But basically, I hyperextended my knee twice in the span of a week. And here's how I did. So first was on June 3rd, I was at work. This was around 4:30 p.m. I was walking to one of my students, and at the time we had sand covering the whole play yard, and there was a big sand hole, and I remember we had covered it up, so I thought it was gone. They had redug it up again, and my right foot slipped in the sand hole, and my knee jerked backwards. And when it first happened, it was a little mini shock, but it was like, okay, it doesn't hurt, so I literally shook my leg and was like, keep going, whatever. And then later that night during the staff meeting, my knee started to hurt more, and it got harder to bend and straighten, and I was really confused and was like, okay, maybe it's just a little sore because, I did send my knee backwards. It could just be a little sore. I'm chill, and I, again, did not want to freak out because I was like, oh, I'm going to freak out and then it won't be that bad or something. So, did that. I came home that night and I made sure that I iced it as soon as I got home and elevated it. And I tried to do some light stretching to see if maybe it was just tight. And no, my knee still hurt when doing the stretching. So I'm like, okay, maybe it just needs a day of rest and then it'll feel better. So then the next day I wore my knee sleeve that I have, that from a different knee injury. I wore that the whole day, and then I came home and my knee really hurt, and I was limping around everywhere, and again iced it, elevated it, and I tried stretches again. Nope, same result. My knee still really hurt. And so I'm like, okay, maybe it's not just a little sore, maybe it's a little tweak, but I don't think it's just sore. Because also if it would be sore, stretches would help. So then the next day after that was Thursday that it was that. And then on Friday, I was set to travel on a trip with my friends, our senior trip to San Diego. And we were going to spend Saturday at the zoo the whole day and Sunday at SeaWorld the whole day. And so what did I do? My friend let me borrow her knee brace that she has. It's kind of like, it's not a hinge one, it's like some orthopedic brace. She let me borrow that. And then when we got to the airport, I tried that, but she's a size medium and I'm a size small, so it was too big on me. So we ended up layering. We did my sleeve and then her brace on top, so we did that. And then Friday at the end of the day it hurt, and Saturday at the end of the day it hurt, and it felt like my knee was just really tight overall. And so again, I was like, well, if it's tight, then it means it's sore. Like, what is going on? And I was really baffled because I'm like, isn't it when you get sore, you need a stretch to make your soreness go away? Or if it's sore, you just let it be and it'll go away, but the soreness wasn't going away. So I iced it and elevated it, and then Sunday, at the end of the day, was still a little sore, but it was feeling way better. And so I'm like, okay, you know what? It's, probably again, just sore. Nothing much, just sore, it'll go away. And then Monday we were set to fly home, and it did kind of hurt as we were sitting there and our flight kept getting delayed. But then when we got home, the pain was like a 5. And the pain Thursday, Friday, and Saturday had been a 7, and Sunday was a 5. I'm like, okay, if Monday the pain is still a 5, I'm on the mend. This is great. And so then I again iced and elevated it and was like, okay, well, I'll wear the sleeve and the bracelet to work the next day just to be cautious, because work is a lot of moving around and maybe running, and I don't want it. I want to give it the best chance of healing. And this is where things go horribly wrong. So, that day on Tuesday, I was supposed to work from 2:30 to 6, but my dad had something and he couldn't take me by 2:30 and I couldn't have his car. So I asked my boss if I could come by 12 instead, and she said, sure, you can come earlier from 12 to 2:30. I'll just have you help me with some shed clean out and some office work, and then you'll go at 2:30 and do 2:36 your normal shift. It's like, okay, fine by me, whatever works best for you. It didn't seem like she was assigning some horrible tasks. So I go there. First she has me sort some papers, some ouch reports into the kids' files, and then when we're done with that, she has me go to the shed and organize both sheds and like clean them out, throw away things. Okay, chill, that's what I'll do. And there were these stepstones near, and my foot kept almost slipping. And I was being very careful and cautious when I was walking on them to make sure that my foot was fully landing on the stepstones and not landing on the edge, because I didn't want to aggravate my knee, and was like, maybe it could, maybe it couldn't. And then afterwards, after I did the shed clean out, she had me water the plants. And after I was done watering the plants, she had me go out with my kiddos and then asked if I could help her fill up one of the extra boxes that I emptied stuff out of with some more of our earthquake stuff, earthquake food and lights. And I was like, yeah, sure. So we filled it up. And as we're filling it up and about to lift it, she's like, are you sure this is okay for your knee? Because I told her what happened to my knee and whatever. And I'm like, I didn't know what to say, because I didn't necessarily know if it was going to make my knee worse or not. And I didn't want to say yes. I didn't want to say yeah. Well, I was conflicted, because I didn't want to say no and be mean, but I also didn't know, because I didn't know if it was going to be worse or be okay, whatever. So I didn't want to be mean, so I said yes. And so then my boss takes me, or we fill it up, and we're carrying the box, and I'm the back way. And my only goal is not to drop the box. It's heavy, so if it falls on someone's foot, whatever, and so my boss doesn't fall either. And my right foot slips on one of the stepstones. It slips backwards. Again, kind of similar to how it did when I first injured it, except my foot slipped forward and then my knee jerked, but this time slipped backward. And my knee jerked so hard, and I felt just like a shockwave of pain go down my leg. It was horrible. And it was literally 2 seconds long. And so it really hurt. And I'm like, okay, whatever. This was not the greatest idea. I should have said no. It was all in the span of 5 minutes. I said yes, we quickly did it. And then the pain died down after like 2 minutes and was barely hurting. And so I'm like, okay, my knee will be okay. My knee's not going to be super sore. Again, I'll ice it, I'll elevate it. If I need to take a pain med, I'll take a pain med. I'll, again, keep wearing the sleeve and brace until my knee feels okay. I came home, I could have barely walk. Like, my limp was so much worse than the original injury, and my knee just hurt way more, and it felt more swollen inside, and this part of my bone felt swollen and really sore. And so I'm like, yep, nope. So I iced, elevated, and my mom gave me a pain med. And I'm like, okay, that'll be okay, whatever. And that same day was the day I had told my boss that I had injured myself, and she told me I could file workers' compensation, which basically means if you get injured on the job, they'll pay if you need to go to the hospital, stay in the hospital, get a certain brace or crutches or something, go get an MRI, go get an x-ray, do physical therapy, go see the doctor, get surgery, whatever you need because you got injured at work. And so I was like, no, it's okay. I don't need a claim because my knee was getting better. So I genuinely thought that my knee would be okay enough and it would just be the end of the week that I'll need the sleeve and the brace. The weekend, probably just the sleeve. And then boom, I'm good to go back to my normal routine. And by the way, the Wednesday that I injured it at that staff meeting, she said that during the weekend, they were gonna come and install some like playground, like kind of like tan bark, but like more for playgrounds and was softer because other teachers were slipping and injuring themselves too. And I was like, okay, yay! So that's good. And then so then the next Wednesday it was still really sore. Thursday I kind of pushed through and it was super sore that day, but I kind of was like, it's okay, whatever. But that was Tuesday. By the end of Wednesday, my knee again was still worse. I was walking at snail's pace. The pain became an 8 out of 10. It genuinely felt like someone lit a fire inside my knee and was stabbing my knee from all angles repeatedly. And I tried elevating, icing, taking a pain med. Nothing really relieved the ache. And I was so fed up because I was like, did my re-injury really cause something so severe? Because this was the worst pain, pretty much like the worst pain I have ever felt. Aside from the one time I was in the hospital, but pretty much the worst pain I've ever felt. And so when my mom I talked to my dad on the way from him picking me up from work and told him, he's like, yeah, maybe you want to go to the doctor, go to like urgent care or something. And I told my mom when she came home from a thing she was at that night, she said, yep, let's book an appointment, we're going. So I booked an appointment and the next morning I texted my boss and told him my knee had gotten worse and I really do want to file a claim. And at 6:20 that day after work, I was going to urgent care because my work shift ends at 6. And she was like, she kept calling me asking for information, like how I injured it, what time I injured it, all these questions, where I injured it, all that sorts of thing. And told me if I wanted to, I could skip work because she didn't want me to be hurting or in pain at work. I was like, how nice of you, but I love my job so much that me not working is as if I grounded myself. So I was like, okay, I'm still going to work, I'm still going to deal with it, whatever. And so I go to work and it's very, very sore, whatever. And I spent that whole morning or that whole day, like before my work shift. Where is it? I wrote this whole thing before my shift to say to my doctor when I got there so he could know all of the details about the first injury, the re-injury, how the pain was, all these sorts of things. And how I filed a claim, all sorts. And I was stressing during my work shift because I was like, I don't know what the doctor's going to say. Is he going to say it's serious, it's not serious, whatever. And so then then after work, my mom immediately takes me to urgent care. The lady comes in and checks all my vitals and then asks me, she's like, so you have a knee injury from work? Oh yeah, when I came in, by the way, I had listed on my appointment that it was knee pain and it was like an initial work injury evaluation was what I categorized it as, was one of the options. And so she had to call my boss to confirm my boss knew I was coming, and then it happened at work because I have to submit a claim with my boss first. And then she also gave me like some work compensation form to fill out. Well, basically, I filled out a portion, explained what happened, and then the doctor had to fill out a portion with like what he did and all sorts of things. And so that happened. And then I went in and I saw the doctor and I waited like an hour. Well, I was with the nurse. She took all my vitals and she asked me what had gone on. And I said knee pain. And she said, do you have trouble bending? And she took one look at my knee and was like, you have trouble bending it and straightening it, right? Because I was like my knee in a position in a way that like was trying not to bend it too much or straighten it too much. And I'm like, yes, you understood me. Well, I just was like, yes. And she asked what the pain felt like, and I said, like, someone lit a fire inside my knee and was stabbing it from all angles. And the pain was like an 8 out of 10. Because it really was. And I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. I'm not going to, like, have 8 out of 10 pain, and this is how the pain feels like, and just sit at home and say, oh, it'll get better. Because at that point, it was not just going to get better by whatever I was doing. And so then, finally, after an hour, he came in. And when the doctor came in, he immediately had me take off the brace my friend gave me and then pulled down my sleeve. And he checked my range of motion and said I was somewhere in the middle ground. And then he was pressing around my knee and I was like, ow, ow, this hurts. first, like, because it really did hurt. And he's like, yeah, it's bad. And he mentioned ordering an x-ray one time. And he mentioned physical therapy one time too. And I was like, oh, Jesus, that's serious. And I explained to him that the brace that my friend had given me seemed to help, but it didn't fit properly. So I had to wear the sleeve underneath so that the brace could fit, even though the sleeve didn't really help and made my knee feel tighter. And so then he gave me this. Oh yeah. And basically then, as soon as he said I have what he said I did to my knee. I have like all the papers. He said sprain of unspecified site of right knee initial encounter, and I have to come back on the 18th of June for a recheck, and somewhere in between then I need to go get an x-ray. And for work, I can't kneel, squat, jump, run, or climb ladders. I can't stand for too long or walk for too long. I can't pull or push or lift anything over 10 pounds, and I can only do sit-down work. And so I sent that to my boss as soon after the injury happened, or I got the results from the doctor and got home so that she could kind of know and plan herself, because I had to get work restrictions. And so I came in yesterday and she basically showed me what my accommodations were going to be and had me accept or decline them. And she said if I didn't like them, I could decline them. It was mostly that I had to sit. And it was really annoying accommodations, but I was like, she took from what the doctor said, and the doctor knows what he's doing, and I want to heal fast. So I'm just going to agree. And I've already been healing for a week, and whatever I was doing didn't work, so I need to try a different approach. And walking too much will not help. And so I basically just sat there. I sat outside the whole time, and then we got inside. I did try to do some moving, because sitting too much makes my knee hurt worse, and standing too much makes my knee hurt worse. And so now today I have to call the urgent care and see what they want me to do about the x-ray, and then hopefully go do the x-ray. Hopefully maybe tomorrow I can go do the x-ray, or Monday before work or something. I really don't want to go alone. And so I have to go do an x-ray and see what's, hopefully he said he doesn't know what's sprained, but he knows it's inside and it's bad. And so yeah, I'm really nervous. So we'll see. So that is my knee. That is what I did to my knee. And that is the first week after I graduated. I injured my knee. And it's really sad, but I'm glad it happened now, because I'm working at a summer camp in July. Well, I have my preschool job. I'm also working at a summer camp for kids on the autism spectrum. And at that camp, it's really hard to get a lot of sitting time. So it's better that I got injured now, and I'm going to heal now before my summer camp. Yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And turn on post notifications so you never miss when I make a new video. And also, if you ever get injured at work, make sure, I know I live in California, so I researched from my state, but make sure you research how work compensation works in your state with your job, and you know the necessary means to get compensated and get help. And if whatever you got injured from at work is not immediately going to get fixed, talk to HR, please. I literally, like, within an hour of me getting injured, my boss told the whole team that she was fixing whatever I got injured from. But if your boss didn't see that, go talk to HR and get a solution, please. You've got this. Stay strong. Bye.